Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about how not to summon a Demon Lord Omega, or Season 2, depending on what you prefer.
Was not aware there was an Omega on that. I just thought it was Season 2.
Yeah. It's technically called Omega. They have the Omega symbol for the actual visualization of it. Even when you look at the opening credits, it's the Omega symbol. It is that.
No joke. That's true. Yeah.
Yep. But before we get into that, we were talking about my weight loss journey, exercising, doctor's visits, Rick scamming to get free doctor's visits and everything like that. If you want to catch a part of the wider conversation, you can go to patreon.com/featured anime podcast. $1 a month will get you access to that bonus content. And if you choose to support us, but you don't need the bonus content or anything like that, you can go to our affiliate links that we actually have in the show notes. It'll take you to Right Stuff Anime. It will take you to the Season 1 DVD that is available right now. Season 2 is not yet for sale. When I do get a link for that, I will be sure to share it with you all. We do get a little bit of kickback if you do purchase anything using that affiliate link. And if you choose to support us through buying our own merch, get yourself some Swinky swag at shop.featuredanimepodcast.com. And now, onto the meat and potatoes. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Season 2, or Omega, aired April 2021 through June 2021. Producers for it are Half HP Studio, Clockworks, 81 Produce, TBS, just to name a couple. The studios for it are Tezuka Productions and Okuruto Noburo. It's based off of a light novel. The genres for it are comedy, fantasy, ecchi, harem, isekai, romance, and yes. And it's only 10 episodes long.
Yeah, that about covers it. I would like to add that this has a far more mature rating than Season 1 does.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure?
I looked it up where did I watch it? VRV and Crunchyroll. And Season 1 does not have a mature rating, whereas Season 2 does.
Believe it or not, actually both are rated PG-13.
Serious?
Yep.
Is there an unedited version? Because what I watched definitely was not PG-13. Like they didn't. It wasn't as bad as oh crap! What is it? Frozen? No, obviously not Frozen. Freeze?
Yes.
It's Freeze?
Yeah.
So it's not nearly as bad as Freeze, but it didn't hide much.
Yeah, but it still hid. I mean, I don't know what your infatuation with trying to get ratings are. They never go the way you're thinking. I mean,
it makes no sense to me.
It doesn't have to.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't have to. It genuinely, it does not. It does not have to.
I figured the ratings would be far more strict now than they were back in the day. For instance, Jaws, PG-13. No, not even PG-13, PG.
Okay, well,
Gremlins, PG.
No. Maybe. No, back in the day, I think it was rated R even then, I thought. Maybe not.
PG, 1984, Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins. I was still thinking of.
Jaws?
I was still thinking of Jaws for whatever reason.
1975, PG.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, like, oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm retarded. I'm dumb. Ignore me. I'm sorry.
What happened?
I was like, no, that makes total sense, right? That makes total sense. And in my mind, you're saying, no, Jack, it's PG. And I'm like, yeah, no, totally rated R. You're like, no, Jack, PG, wrong letter. Oh, I got you now. I got you. Okay. Anyways, the ratings never go the way they're planned for you, or at least for this. They're both.
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, honestly, no matter what, you should not be watching Ecchi anyways if you're under 18, simply because of the TNA. But that's beside the point. That is my personal opinion on it. Whether or not you take that to heart is another story entirely. This show honestly picks up almost exactly where season 1 leaves off. I mean,
yeah, almost immediately. There's no day missed.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do a time skip.
Yeah, it would have been weird to do a time skip, but at the same time, I kind of understand why they didn't, because I feel like there would have been too much. There would be too much change happening during that time skip. So it starts off pretty much right after the first one ended, except you're being introduced. So the Demon King, the true Demon Lord at the end of season 1, is a slave for Diablo, and the Fallen and the Demon Lord, at least that portion of it, they're no longer the pivotal central focus of it. They are no longer the main focus of the story for everything. Now it's the corruption in the church having to do with that world and what is going on with that. So you have La Machina, the high priestess, who's basically being chased after in this series in the second season. And it starts off with that. And if you really want to get a feel for how the whole anime will go, they they stop just shy of a tentacle rape scene having to deal with a giant mushroom.
That about sums it up, and I think I'm ready for a rating. What about you?
I mean, I'm assuming you're going to give it a 1 for every episode. So every episode, you're going to add 1 to your score. So you're going with a 20 out of 10 if we're going to stop here, right?
Pretty much. Oh, dear Lord.
No, this
I know that they...
By all means, please.
Oh, all right. No, I was going to say this one... I feel like they played a lot with boundaries that they're like, I wonder what this would invoke. I wonder what this would do. I wonder what this would do. Because through the course of the show, I think every one of the girls, except for the Demon Lord that he's dealing with, ends up being naked. And it just felt when the priestess did it, because she was so pious and pure, when they did it to her, it felt worse. You know, she's not a fighter. She doesn't fight back. She prays. She's like, God, please help me. And then this beam of light comes down, which makes me question, is there a God in this world? There's obviously demon lords, and there are fallen gods, which we find out closer to the end. But is there an actual God granting her power, granting her blessings and stuff like that? Because they have...
Well, they do teeter on that line in the show, and so there's no denying that. However, I'm glad that they didn't make it a central focus, right? They chose to really kind of not focus.
Yeah, it was brought up, but it wasn't a focal point. I feel like it'll be a focal point in season 3 if we have one. Or maybe not. Maybe it just focuses on the structure of humans and how corrupt they can be and self-serving.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we got a real good, honestly, a really good focus on that with the corruption inside the church and the godlike complex that a lot of the individuals had. However, I want to say what they did in this show or what they did in this season was they showed. So to kind of backfill everyone for where Diablo comes from, he comes from our world, he isekai'd into that world, and his character or his body, right, is that of his gaming character. So his items, the stats, the equipment, everything like that are all related to his character and the items revolving around it. And so the enemy, the fallen, are a part of that world as well. Well, what ends up happening in this world now for the second season is I feel like it plays more heavily on that, right? There's more references to the game or to the games that he's familiar with. And they start referencing items that he's familiar with and calling them out. And he's calling out more skills and everything like that in this season that he's familiar with. He's like, oh, that's a a level or a move that 130 martial art user would be able to use and things like that. And so it takes kind of more of a gaming approach for it, in terms of how that world's being structured. And even in the beginning, he talks about how he wants to go to an area because a dungeon he built is out there.
Mm-hmm. Now that made me think of Overlord, where he brought his own dungeon and stuff like that. And what I found quite interesting is in this dungeon, it was like his second home. All of his treasures were in there. And here's what frustrated me beyond anything I could even describe, for lack of a better way to put it. They got a feather that allows for teleportation anywhere you've been before, right?
Yes.
How much gold was in that treasure room? And since it was not a one-time use feather, specifically stated not a one-time use feather, why doesn't he just teleport back, grab like a handful of gold so he's got money? Because it's always a reference point of, we're so poor, we don't have any money, we're all this. And I'm like, bro.
Well, it was only referenced heavily in the first season and before they got to that point, right? And so once they reached that dungeon, that's when he was able to, I want to say he was able to get that gold. Is at that point he was able to get the equipment because when they first go into the temple and it's supposedly a newly discovered temple, which is not the case at all, or at least for him, he knew about it. He just kind of blasts his way and is able to force his way through it because it was his design. He knows how to get past each level, and he knows that he will ultimately survive no matter what.
How did you feel when they go up to basically the final boss, who's this android looking thing, and he's like, "Hey, Daddy's home. Here's my gamer sign. Here's what I was called before," and the android's like, "Master, you're finally back." Like, no vetting process, no nothing like that. It's just like, I recognize you anywhere.
Well, it's not that. He specifically called out his tag, right? It was at Diablo.
At Diablo 13.
Score 13, -13, right? Specifically.
Yeah.
And unless you were intimate with video games and everything like that, okay, the going at Diablo -13 would mean absolutely no one in that world refers to themselves like that. They're not going to go, "Oh, I am, Jack 1915-3. Oh, you must be Jack, and blah, 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 or Rick, you're blah, 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 blah. No, that's not going to happen.
I kind of get where you're coming from, and I understand that, but I think it opens up a brand new line of thought. If everything from the game that was connected to him was transferred over into this world, right? Then they've got a maximum limit that he's already at. He'll never be able to level up, which kind of sucks. But
maybe not, because he references possibly leveling up or getting stronger a couple of times. Not directly, but I feel like it's hinted at that is something that he will eventually be able to do.
That would be kind of badass. But yeah, he references there's a few people that are like level 160 or something like that.
Yeah.
With the buffs of the equipment and stuff like that. He takes care of them like nothing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, when your base level is maxed and after that, it comes down to ability and equipment and all this stuff. What I absolutely loved is, and I'm jumping towards the middle. We'll backtrack a little bit afterwards, I'm sure. But when he's fighting a demon, the thing that pisses him off the absolute most when this herald was coming to pick up, I forget who, might have been the gun chick.
To be his new governor
mistress.
The governor of the area. Yeah.
He shows up to be like, "You're going to be my new wife. You're going to be in my harem. It's going to be great." Diablo sees it and he instantly, I was like, why? What's going on? He's not doing it. And he just starts screaming. It was so reminiscent of when he was playing the game. Because he was like, I absolutely hate lovey-dovey crap. I hate this because I don't have it. I hate this because I don't have it. I hate this. How dare you? And he sees all of this, what he considers to be taboo and evil, just in this person's life. And he just demolishes him in such a wonderful fashion.
Yeah.
Like, he gets rid of all of his wives. He's like, you've committed the worst sin possible in front of me. How
could you? Yeah. And
pretty much.
And what's interesting is, they reference that there is a revived demon lord. There is someone very specific, and I feel like it's not the same demon lord that Diablo has, which is Clem. It's because I feel like they reference someone specifically as to who it is, but we don't see them, and they're not a part of this story, at least not the main focal point. They are hinted at, they are talked about a little bit, but that is it. The main focal point for the story, honestly, is the church in this one, and Diablo's kind of progress going through the lands, so to speak, kind of gathering more allies, gaining a better understanding of the world, and at the exact same time, getting himself put into, I want to say, very questionable situations that are very not PG friendly. I want to say, like, at all. Like, and they get, and this is I want to say this one more so than the first one. They definitely teeter more on that line, where they're
absolutely
where it could easily be, pushed over just a hair, and it immediately becomes a porn
banned franchise.
Yeah, it immediately, like, oh yeah, no, totally. This doesn't belong on here. This belongs on something else. For those special individuals that are very into something else.
What I find absolutely, I don't know if it's stunning or disappointing. His biggest thing is, I'm still a virgin. I'm this, I'm that. He's got so many opportunities where he has to fight to keep his purity.
Yes.
Like, actually beat women off and like, get away, back.
Yeah, no. He's running away from it, like causing a distraction. And it's like, no, totally. What's that over there? Oh, I think someone's peeping in on us. It's like, whoa. And then at the exact same time, he's like almost, and you'll have to excuse, but this is exactly what happens. To charge his android, the robot, up, for whatever reason, she chooses to strip down to her underwear, and they have to charge through contact. So he sticks his fingers in the two holes in her back. I mean, like, that's one way to charge. With the innuendos in this alone, he's like, oh, I have to concentrate and just pour it into her. And it's like, it's like, what? And then, the twitching and the screaming and the moaning and the sweating, like, everything. It's just like, I'm sorry. I thought I was watching an anime and not a hentai. Like, what?
So that what right there,
I was like, okay.
Yeah, but that right there is when that is the stereotypical someone walks in on you watching the show and that's what's playing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, honestly, everything about this show ended up being like that. Like, there was almost never a point in any episode where you wouldn't have a point like that happening, where something questionable was happening on there and someone walks in. They're like, what are you watching? Can you run that by me again? Like, are you watching what right now? Well, I'm watching an anime. Are you sure that's what you're watching? It really doesn't look like you're watching that. No, I swear, hun, I am watching an anime.
It's for the podcast.
It's for the podcast. I swear. Yeah.
They walk away going, the sacrifices you make.
No, they actually walk away, the sacrifices I make and believe. It's at that moment, turn to you. You do realize you're lucky to have me, right? Yeah, I know. Hank, I love you.
So to explain a little bit better, because it sounds very bad. The holes that we're referring to, there are 4 power holes on her lower back.
Well, I said that they were holes on her back, and he puts his fingers in them. Look, it plays strongly into the innuendo of what is going on.
I know.
All right,
I feel clarity was necessary.
I feel like people's imagination should run wild because it's an android. No. They have some holes in the back, and he has to pour his magic into her to fill her up, charge her batteries.
In my long life, I've seen way too many animes, quote unquote, where the dude's got to charge the android.
Well, he's only using his 2 index fingers, all right? Or for both of them.
That doesn't help. You can't even say it was 2 index fingers from the other hand, like each hand. It still does not help. And what's worse is when he pulled his fingers out, there was like a electric, like, I don't know, drip coming off of his hands.
Look, sir, that was the residual magic power that was not absorbed by the android. All right. You have to remember that there is just some things you have to come to terms with. And the moist streams of liquid that are coming from his fingers after he pulls out pure energy. That's it. As he's pulling out his fingers, it's just pure energy.
Yeah, as Goose says, this is he's using his Type C chargers, not the Type G chargers, though. Oh, geez.
It's an interesting show to say the least. I mean, like, there is some plot. There is a plot to the show. It's just kind of overshadowed by the plot of the show, if you catch my meaning.
Yeah. So
it does have a story. To give you an idea. It does have a story, and it's a good story. It is. It's a decent story. Not great. It's decent.
Well, referencing the story itself, I found, and I'd like to know your opinion. I feel like it's got one overarching arc, and it's all about getting the head priest back to the church.
Right.
But in the middle of it, you've got 2, maybe 3 side stories. Like the first, obviously you got to get her from point A to point B. The first stop is in a city that potentially has the governor that we spoke about before, and the other head priest who is only handling things as best he can because the governor's charging so much, so he's got to charge a certain amount for prayers and miracles. And there was this curse you had to resolve and stuff like that. And once that was taken care of, you moved from that to him running away from her.
Yeah.
The governess, to something else, to his next, to find his dungeon that gives him a whole slew of other weapons. And he dropped his most powerful staff. I hope to God that comes back to him one day.
I thought it was
and not in somebody.
I thought it not that he dropped.
No, he dropped it in the river.
Oh,
the one he dove into the river.
In his dungeon though. That's in his dungeon.
Yes.
So I wouldn't worry about it there. Okay, I mean, like if they make it down there and whatever, I don't think they're going to be jumping in the water to get to it. So
here's my thought process on this. He's blown through all the defenses. Like he didn't reactivate any of the defenses.
I'm pretty sure that they all reset automatically.
Maybe I thought the maid had a lot to do with that.
No, the maid saw it. The maid was there just to clean. That was it.
But
she never went to the other floors. She was always at that one.
Oh, well, thank you for clarifying it. Because I just, for some reason, assumed that other people have tried because there was death everywhere. The maid came out, whooped ass, and I figured she would be resetting all the tests, so to speak.
Yeah, no. In fact, they stated specifically that they only made it to the 3rd floor, not even down past it. They only made it down to the slimes, and that was only a recent occurrence.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh, and I felt so bad that dragon died a virgin. On the 12th for the
do
Guardian.
specifically call that out too in the show. They do specifically call out that yes, the dragon died a virgin.
It's
Sadly.
hilarious the way they did it.
It was sad though. At the same time, it's like, Diablo's having this very intimate, touching moment with the guy. He's like, no, I get it, I understand.
He's like, I'll let you go.
I
the maid
feel
comes
you.
in.
Wrecks him. Maid walks in, wrecks
the
him.
maid comes in, is like, why are you running? Why are you running? Oh, that was awesome. Anyway, so that was like the second arc, and the third arc, the third sub story, in my opinion, was him confronting the demon army and the demon lord's army. And he was like, hey, who gave you permission to rise up in my name? And
it wasn't even necessarily in his name. He was like, I didn't give you permission to call yourself a demon army because I am the only true demon lord and everything like that. And I do agree. They do have like 3 separate plots going on in this show. All of them are very short, very small, and none of them ever get truly resolved. They give you the hint of them being resolved. And the only main one that gets resolved is the one dealing with the priestess or the high priestess. Yes. That does get resolved. And again, they still reference an item. They reference illness that Diablo was familiar with. And he knew where they got it from, how they got the illness or the curse, so to speak, rather. And it was relevant to an in-game event. And then the same thing for the final boss, the pinnacle point where they're back at the high priest's castle or floating cathedral island in the sky type thing. It's, it's a awesome weapon, and it is again very specific to his world, and that's how he knew about it. So, I mean, like, we're given at least one full resolution, but we're left with more questions as to what's going on and what else is going to end up happening. And then you are given like no hope. I feel no hope in that there will be a third season to give us a resolution to everything. I mean,
really,
the reason why I say that is because they only did 10 episodes.
I'm happy they only did 10 and they didn't drag it out to 12 or 13. But the way that they ended it, I thought it was primed for a third season.
Well, I feel like they could have written it better to make it 12 episodes. They could have left out a lot of the weird, unusual fluff that was in there, or shortened it if they really wanted to include it, and included more story to help bring us a more satisfactory conclusion for everything instead of just leaving everything completely open. I mean, we'll see. I mean, season 1 came out in like 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
And this came out 3 years later. So maybe 3 years later.
Well, hopefully. I mean, they got a pattern. Hopefully they follow through. But
well, I mean, they went 2 episodes. They went 2 episodes shorter than season 1 as well. So, you
think they ran out of funding?
Probably. I mean, like, it wouldn't be unusual for a studio or something like that to stop. The other thing that kind of throws me off too is that there was 2 studios that worked on this one instead of just 1. I mean, I can understand 2 studios working on it if it was like 25, 30, 50, 100 episodes, but not a 10 episode show. I don't know too many shows that have 2 separate studios working on it at the same time, which is probably why they went with multiple story arcs, because they had different studios working on it at the exact same time. And so they just combined the stories as cohesively as possible.
Okay. So I just looked it up, and it says that there's 2 answers, which I don't like, but it is what it is. One says that a third season has not been officially renewed. And a release date has not been revealed. However, you can make some predictions. The next one down says, if the third season follows the anime timeline, the third season will likely drop around late 2023 or early 2024.
Right. I mean, like, they're going off of the time frame in between season 1 and season 2. And they're again reconfirming what I just said. I mean, like, it's not that there's 2 possible answers. It's like, if they're going to do it, they will do this. They probably won't announce it until X date, which will probably be closer to the 3-year mark. So we still have another year almost to go. So if anything, they'll probably announce it June, if anything at all, if we're going to get it. And then they'll announce it for a year in the future.
Oh, I hate it when I do this. This is not fun for me. So I keep searching, right? And I got so excited because they're like, season 3 to be released in April 2023. It's not even the right title. I clicked on a completely different anime with a similar title.
That's why you need to do this all beforehand. You know, if you're going to look.
I didn't think about it until you
search beforehand. All right.
I didn't think about it until you brought up some very good points.
All right, sir. I personally, I don't have too much more I can say about the show. I mean, like we've already, I feel like hit pretty solid points on it.
Well, there's one last thing I was hoping to hit that I want your personal opinion on.
Okay.
So the newest member, the weakest member of the crew, decided to put a servant necklace on, right?
Yeah.
She jumped. She went from level 20 to level 80.
Yep.
With no additional skills.
No, that's not true.
Well, with one additional skill
that we know
no
of and
actual,
that they showed. That
fair
we know
enough.
of and that they showed. I mean, like
that's you are accurate. Yes, I assumed, which bad thing to do, but I assumed because she got those boosts by pairing, and now she's under the contract that if she dies or if he dies, she dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but think, and I want your opinion, if he's maxed at 150, right? And someone did a servant contract with him and they gained 60 levels. Would there be potential that he could somehow contract with the demon lord that he has as his slave to somehow, some way gain levels from that? You think that'd be a thing?
Only if he made himself a slave to the demon lord.
Yeah. It was a stretch. I was trying to think of different ways to do it, sadly. But yeah, that was basically the last point I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
Metaphorically speaking.
Understandable. All right, sir. So how about we charge this bad boy up, shall we?
Good Lord. Yeah, to 130%, right?
Right. All right, sir. So on a scale of up to 10, as tradition would dictate, sir, how would you rate this?
All right. So my thought process is this was a damn good show. It was funny for the most part, and then there was 2 or 3 episodes where there were spots where I was like, if someone walked in on me, I'd feel real awkward. Try to explain this away. So that immediately knocks it out of the 10 range. It didn't have all 12 episodes, so that's not a 9.
Yeah, but you said you can't knock it for that because you said you were really happy that it didn't have 12 episodes. You were happy that it had 10.
I was, because the story that they gave.
So I feel like you can't knock it for not being 12 if you're happy that it wasn't 12. Because then you're saying, I'm upset that you did what I didn't want you to do. But
I feel like a proper 10, like for me, a proper 10 would be. You can't. It would be a full season.
To you, it was a full season. You can't knock it because it's 2 episodes short. And that you were happy, and that you were happy that it was shorter. It's like, I'm totally happy it was only 10 episodes long, but I'm knocking 2 points because it wasn't 2 extra episodes full of fluff. I wanted 2 extra episodes of beach scene, damn it. I feel like that's what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
Dear Lord, no.
Okay. So.
Jesus, no. Although I was expecting the elf to get a high grade armor that didn't cover anything. As players' uniforms usually do.
Well, they did that for Rem, so Yeah,
they did. I was thinking if they do it for the elf, there's no way it's going to stay on. Let's see. Higher than a 5 because I would totally offer this for someone to watch, but I do it with a caveat. Hey, watch it alone or watch it with your spouse. I'm gonna give it an 8. Damn Goose.
Goose says Rick wanted more charging stations for their Tesla females. I mean, like if there were I feel like if there were 2 more charging stations for the Tesla females, he would have given it a perfect 10. So,
just saying, but hands free. That's all I gotta say.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it an 8.
Okay.
It's something I would definitely recommend to somebody, with a caveat of, hey, watch this with your spouse or in a dark room alone. Definitely not something you want to watch in public or around the kids.
Yeah, definitely not around the kids. This is most assuredly for the more mature audiences out there.
Yeah.
Age wise, mentally wise, regardless, it doesn't matter. As long as you're an adult, do whatever the hell you do. You.
If you know what Soma is, you can watch this.
Exactly. How's that Soma there, Rick?
Well, fresh, very fresh.
For me, I felt like it was short. I felt like there was a lot of open-ended questions that I'm not getting answers to. I feel like I was cheated if they were going to have like those multiple plots that we talked about, so to speak. Those story arcs. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it should have been longer. Like you can't introduce that many elements story-wise into it and not give a solid resolution to it, because they're making a lot of references. They're talking about a lot of different things. And it's just like someone coming in, waving hi, and then walking away. It's like, what the hell was that? Are you going to elaborate on this? It's like, no, we're not. We're not going to elaborate on it. It's like, all right, well, forget you then.
Why'd you make me learn their name?
Right. It's like you went through this whole thing. You made me start getting invested into it. Like there was going to be a deeper meaning to everything that's going on. And it's like, well, we just wanted you to be tangentially aware about this. And we may come out with another season down the line. The artwork, honestly, the scenery and everything like that, they did good. I felt like they weren't lacking in that department for it. The voice actors, I feel like, were the exact same from the first one. If I remember correctly, they are.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, like, at least they were consistent in that. The overall feel for Diablo and how he was through the whole season 1 and season 2, at least was consistent. He didn't have a complete personality shift. However, I feel like Rem and Shira from season 1 to season 2 became more infatuated with him. I feel like they were a little bit more like wanting, and it was like geared more of a, we want to have you, we need to be you, we want to be together with you, like in more ways than one type of thing, and let's share each other type deal, versus season 1 where it didn't really feel like it was that much. Like it was like,
it felt a little more forced here. Yeah, I agree.
So for those reasons, I'm going with a 6.
I knew it. I was going to say something, but I didn't want to influence you. Well, they're both even numbers.
They're even numbers. I mean, like, was it because I was like being a little critical? Do you feel like I was being a little too critical on it?
No, all your points are valid. It's just you and I have a different criteria for judging on it.
Well, I mean, like, obviously. I mean, we can't exactly make everything. Oh, totally. We're going to make everything the exact same score across the board for both of us. There would be no differentiation. I mean, like, what's the point of us having this conversation? You know what I'm going to give it. I know what you're going to give it. We're going to hit the same points. No, not even. I hope not close. I mean, sometimes
I do agree with. This is true. I do agree with you. They have a lot of guns on the table they're not using. In reference to like a smoking gun, like you see it, you're like, ooh, that's going to be important. Forgot about it. Maybe season 3, hopefully.
I can hope. I can dream. I can do it.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else other than the next week is your choice there, sir. And if
It is my
I
choice.
remember correctly, you told me we are going to be watching God Eater.
Yes, we are.
Right. Well,
a little bit of a shift, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, especially for something that's, I mean, it's been a while since we've watched something that was based on a game.
Wait, it's based on a game?
Yep.
I thought the game came after. That's awesome.
So that's all the time that we have for today. Hope you enjoyed this week's choice. If you feel like we got something right, something wrong, did it too much justice, not enough justice, or anything else, you could reach out to us. We have all our contact information, links, show notes, all that stuff for you available at featuredanimepodcast.com. If you want to hear some of the pre and post show content that we usually do, patreon.com/featured anime podcast. $1 a month will get you access to that bonus content and more. If you want to buy season 1 of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, use the affiliate link that we have in the show notes for you. If you use that link, we do get a little bit of a kickback for anything that you buy off of there for Right Stuff Anime. It is very much appreciated. And if you choose to support us through other means, like buying some swanky swag off of our own merch site, shop.featuredanimepodcast.com. And until next time, I'm Jack.
I'm Rick. We'll see you next week with a full charge.